What's happening, people? Welcome back to another episode of the TSF podcast.
It's like a sombre occasion.
Sombre occasion. It feels like someone,
I don't know, it feels like... I don't know.
Feels like there's been a death.
Feels like a girl's left me.
Feels like my dog's died or something. My fish.
Yeah, like your dog that you just kind of... You've only had it for a few months, though, but you loved it right straight away. And it's
remember, it reminds me my wee goldfish. Lucky. He was my... I had 3 goldfish, and one I named was called Lucky. And
that's the one that went.
Last night was a worse feeling. It was Croatia 3, Scotland 1, in a game in which Scotland needed to win at home. Came up short. You were there, David. What was it like?
Well, I don't even know how to, because this is going to be a video that could go in so many different tangents. I'm going to start with a few positive things from last night, just from my point of view. Obviously, incredibly lucky to have got there. And the Callum McGregor goal is like a moment that I'll never forget. I think people misinterpreted it when I said I've never felt a celebration like that in a football ground. I've seen bigger celebrations at football grounds with more people and stuff, but there was just something about that. Having not been on a ground like that for so long, Scotland's first goal at a major tournament in 23 years. At a point where I thought we were down and out in the game, it was unbelievable. It was amazing. Just, what a moment. That was great. The atmosphere was fantastic. Luka Modric was just a joy to watch. Great to watch that in person. But apart from that, not many positives to take.
See, getting into the game, obviously Billy Gilmour doesn't start. There was a big decision for Clarke. Who does he put in there? He goes with Armstrong, which I think a lot is anticipated. But honestly, see, even going into the game, mate, I know Billy Gilmour had a sensational game versus England. I still was a wee bit apprehensive with their midfield, and they end up going with, is it Brozovic, Kovacic and Luka Modric, and you just think to yourself, if they get going today, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a difficult afternoon, and obviously you were at the match, so I think it got to about 35 minutes and they put up the start of possession, and they had 70% possession. And something I'd been impressed with Scotland in the previous 2 games is how much we actually had the football. I was surprised at that. But versus them, they just got going. Luka Modric got going, and they just never looked back, especially in second half.
I think we all got carried away, and absolutely fair enough, and it was the right thing to do, because when you're at these tournaments, you've got to enjoy them. We all got completely carried away and didn't think about how good Croatia were. Everybody did it, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because you got to live in the moment with football and things like that. These are the guys that were runners-up in the last World Cup. Luka Modric was a Ballon d'Or winner.
2018, 3 years ago.
Brozovic is an outstanding centre midfielder for Inter Milan who had a brilliant season. Kovacic has been playing in the Chelsea team that's just won the European Cup.
Now that you say it like that, man, wow.
I didn't think about this until I was in Hampden last night and I saw the teams come up and I went, fuck me, these are a good side. These are a really good side. We're also blinded by the fact that our recent record against Croatia has been very, very good. And it's not the same Croatia team, and it wasn't the same Scotland team. So, immediately we're all, I think everybody went into Hampden last night expecting Scotland were going to win, which is completely unrealistic. I still thought we could win. And listen, again, the chances that we had in the night, we could have scored 3-4 goals with the chances we had. Again, I've said it at the start, we can go different ways with this video. To start, again, I want to start positive, and then we'll dissect it after. All 3 games, Scotland have gone into it, created lots of chances, could have scored numerous goals, maybe not had the luck in the final third. On another day, maybe we can. On another day, that goal from Luka Modric is just unbelievable. We concede 2 goal of tournament contenders in our 2 home games. They will probably be 2 of the best goals of this entire tournament. You don't have that going for you from a start.
It's the most Scottish thing ever.
That little bit of luck doesn't go your way. Perisic's goal is another great goal. You can maybe dissect the defending. I just think it's a great goal. And it's very, very tough, and it's a tough group. It was a very tough group, on paper. So realistically, I still believe we could have got out of the group. I think if you beat Czech Republic, which again we could have done.
I think that's the biggest annoyance.
We would have been through before last night if we'd have been Czech Republic.
We would have been. I think that's the thing that gets me the most. Like last night, I can accept. I can maybe hypothesise and say, oh, what if changes were made sooner and all that, and I think that'll live with Clarke fucking for the rest of his managerial career. Could have done something different there, and I think he'll maybe regret some of the changes that he made, but ultimately you've been outdone by world-class centre midfielders, especially Luka Modric, who was sensational. But the Czech Republic one for me is the big what if, because Clarke obviously has conceded that he chose the wrong team for that one. So as you say, it's like Scotland could have been through even before last night, and Aye, I don't
But then again, you look at Czech Republic against Croatia, they gave it a right good fist.
Yep.
You know, they didn't look like they were the difference in class that there was last night. Clarke could have made... Listen, we all can say what we think the team should have been in. We could have had our ideal teams on the park and they all could have played to the best of their ability. There's still no guarantee would have won that game. No. They were just unbelievable and they could have scored a fair few more. Marshall had a great game last night. I don't think he could do anything for any of the goals. And he made some big saves. You know, O'Donnell obviously wasn't great. Fine. There's no shying away from the fact that that is our weak spot. If Nathan Patterson starts last night ahead of O'Donnell, we still get beat. I don't care what anybody says. It doesn't make that much of a difference. Yes, he might have been better, but that is O'Donnell's not the reason we got beat. You know, the fact that they were just much better than us. Maybe he's at fault for the first goal, but there is no guarantee that a young, inexperienced defender is not going to make the same mistake. Not saying he would have done. I thought he did really well when he came on.
Yeah.
Just my point is that there's a lot more we got beat by than Armstrong playing, than O'Donnell playing. You know, no matter what, even if Gilmour did play last night, you're still needing a massive performance and a massive difference for us to win.
Ultimately, I think it does fall back to the manager and his substitutes. I mean, for the get-go, about 25 minutes in, and you're seeing Ivan Perisic running at Stephen O'Donnell in one-on-ones, and the shape wasn't allowing for a centre mid to get over and help him out. He was just on toast all night. Like, he was there to be slaughtered, and that's what happened. He was poor. Stuart Armstrong was poor as well. But then you're looking... But when the team comes out, I'm sitting to myself thinking after the England game, right, okay, like Armstrong's the only change here, so hopefully he can come in and he can do something. But I just think the manager's got to act a lot quicker. I mean, everybody could see at home for about 25 minutes in that they were maybe two of the guys that had to come off, and he didn't do it. He didn't pull the trigger until the 67th minute or something like that, and he brings on Fraser on the 10.
He gets the...
So that's what the most annoying thing is about last night, man.
The thing that he gets wrong, the teams are just back to front. The one that plays against Czech, the one that plays last night. You're talking about a guy to go and help Stephen O'Donnell. Ryan Christie is the perfect man for that. You play Ryan Christie last night, he's an extra midfielder when we don't have the ball. Dykes and Adams, like Adams had to drop deep last night, but you don't want Adams dropping into midfield. You want him on the shoulder, so when you can break, he's in behind. If you play Christie, he's the fittest man in that squad pretty much. He will do all the defensive work like he does for club and country, and it would have made more sense. Whereas in the first game, you probably could have done with another striker up there. You could have done with Shea Adams up there. That's just back to front. It doesn't make any sense, the difference there.
I had a nightmare on the live stream. You weren't there actually. I said offence is the best form of attack. What I meant to say was offence is the best form of defence, and although we did touch on Nathan Patterson there, I do think that the biggest weak spot in that Croatian team was the left back position. We're playing Gvardiol there instead of Borna Barisic, who obviously was injured. A centre half reformed into a left back. I do think we could have pushed him back. It might not have to have been Nathan Patterson. It could have been Fraser, who was bright when he came on, or Forrest. And again, I'll go back to the team selection for the start. Fine, but surely you're looking onto that and you're going, right, we can get at this left back, so let's try and go for it. We've got a squad there for a reason. We've got a strong squad there. We've got different types of players. Let's go and do it, and let's try and push them back a wee bit, because Ivan Perisic wouldn't have wanted to be chasing back like a Forrest or a Patterson. Like, he's not wanting to do that, is he? And ultimately, I thought we sat back too long. I thought that Clarke was more reactive than proactive, and ultimately, when you let world class players, you know, just pass the ball side to side and such, they're going to punish you. And it's a world class strike, right, that separates them.
I think the first change should have been Forrest or Fraser for O'Donnell. I think it should have happened very, very quickly.
Off time, even.
Yeah, honestly. And I just pushed them back, because as you say, if you're then putting Ivan Perisic in the back foot and making him defend. The problem I have with this though is our weakest player in the team, and I'm not going to sit here and just slag Stephen O'Donnell, because it's not like his fault. He is what he is. Is he good enough for international football? Probably not in the long term, but we don't have a standout. The fact that the guy we're clamouring for to play is somebody who's played 8 senior games of football.
I think it's a wee bit more than that.
Well, but
I think it's about 15.
Okay, but senior. Even then,
but
the
also
that's our next best option. No, but it's not a slight on Nathan Patterson. It's a slight on the options that we have. The fact that we are then
got good options,
but a right back.
I genuinely do. Maybe not in that squad. But you look at Sean Rooney. Even McGinn's had a good season at Hibs. Do you know what I mean? And Nathan Patterson was really good.
Players, though.
I see Sean Rooney yesterday, mate, or throughout this tournament, he'd have made a big difference, eh? Set pieces, back post, coming into the back post and such, I don't know.
Again, your problem is, though, the fact that the right back is the problem we're having the issue with. The fact that the player beside him is a centre midfield player playing at the back.
That's
you've
no
got a
help.
midfielder playing at the back and our weakest position there, and we get done down that channel so many times. It's not always O'Donnell, but sometimes inside O'Donnell, and there's a lack of communication for the goal. You've got, you look at the goal, I think they're both at fault to an extent. McTominay's looking at Vlasic as the ball comes in, but as the ball comes in, he for some reason thinks he can get it, goes back and leaves.
And there's no shout, there's no communication.
O'Donnell's under it, doesn't do well enough, and it drops to
Vlasic
Vlasic just in a goal. It's both of them at fault. It's bad communication.
And that's that. Although we're talking about the other two strikes, like that is one that should be avoidable.
Yeah, it's the same as the first goal against Czech Republic.
Poor goals in at that level, like you can't be doing that, especially in a must-win game. But you can only look at it and hope that Steve Clarke has an epiphany and he starts to.
We can't keep this 3-5-2 nonsense going.
No,
I don't think so. Scott McTominay is not surely a long-term centre back for Scotland. Surely you've got to get him in midfield.
Does he get into that midfield though?
Probably.
Do you know what I mean? It's got to be tough.
But then does he have to?
Does he have to? Do you know? No, I get what you're saying.
Steve Clarke for me just needs to have the balls to play Tierney in a back two. I just think he's got the balls to do it. He won't do it though. But I think he could do it. I think he's a good enough defender. I don't think you're not convinced, but I think he could do it.
No, I think. Do you know what? It's obviously a gamble because
Patterson,
his height.
Hanley, Tierney, Robertson. Then you can play with wingers. Play with some wingers, man. Get some
us up with
and also see. Funnily enough, I actually think Robertson from fullback might attack a bit better because he's not starting. See, when you see Robertson from Liverpool, he doesn't start in such a high position. He starts from deep and he goes.
And he drives,
whereas when he starts from deep, he's actually not the best when he's got the ball to his feet. He's better running onto it. If you play, say last night, say we'd set up a four at the back, Forrest and Fraser on either side, and had a right good go at them with the pace and the wings and stuff, and you've got your three in the middle and Adams up top, it would just be so threatening. You've got quality set midfield players say you played Gilmour, McGinn, McTominay as a three. That's a fantastic midfield three.
Yeah.
And it means that I know we slagged McTominay.
You've also got Ryan Jack to come back in,
man. Who had
that space cemented. And Callum McGregor,
who has been fantastic in the last two games.
Callum McGregor's top 4 players, I'd say, for us for the tournament.
Yeah, I would say so too. He's got quality. And again, I think, you talk about if we play with wide players in a four at the back, I think Armstrong could play as a wide midfielder. I think he obviously had a stinker last night, more so kind of off the ball defensively and stuff, and when we won it, he didn't quite. But see, when he got the ball in higher areas,
he did. He put in 2 magnificent crosses, and I was saying it all game. I was I'm backing you here, Armstrong, because I want you to do well, mate, but you're making it fucking hard for me because you're getting the ball away at every opportunity, world-class players, and you need to protect the football. But when he did get into that advanced area, he did put it. He puts the ball out of the back post for John McGinn, who I think should be a wee bit braver.
And for the goal that comes from him bursting got down the right-hand side.
And that as well, do you know what I mean? So I think Armstrong has got a lot today, in my opinion, to get back in my good books, but because there's so many good options there. But I know what you're saying, and
we're using him play in a different position. Play him higher up.
I know what you're saying, aye. But if you're going to play him in that free man, he's just no.
If we'd have had an extra man in midfield last night, say Gilmour was fit, right, and you go Gilmour, McGregor, McGinn, and you play Armstrong behind Adams, play Armstrong one further forward. I think that would have worked a lot better. Yeah. Because he has got legs, he can cover the ground, and he does really well with that. But he's just not. It's a bit like watching McTominay at the back. He takes risks where he shouldn't. Armstrong's a bit like that one last night. He's taking risks in an area he shouldn't. Just
in the middle, where you just can't be losing the ball.
Especially when you've got that quality around you, And there was times where he would try and drive, and he was just surrounded.
And just get the ball to it off him.
Yeah. Times where you've just got to realise, right, we've just got to. I know I'm going to come on to the long ball and say, but there are times where you need to think, right, hit a channel. We need to get out here and play a bit more sensibly. I don't know where to go next. There's a number of places you can go next. Let's talk about the gaffer, shall we?
You were very vocal on Twitter last night.
Listen, it's not like I came out and said he has to go. It's not it's not what I did. I think.
What I would say is, though, I said earlier, I think he needs to have an epiphany. Every time I see Scotland do well, I'll go back to the last World Cup qualifiers because I think that's a perfect example for myself of what I've seen. We started games poorly, and when in the second half versus Israel we were really good, in the second half versus Austria we were really good, and we were the better team, and I think we showed in the 45 minutes that when we are allowed to go and be expansive a wee bit more, be creative, obviously be organised still at the back, but let our players, roam about a wee bit more, we can actually control games, we can get after teams, and we've got something about us. We've got a perfect crop of players at the moment, I genuinely believe, that can go out and they can do the business. But when they're sitting, the way they were sitting last night, for example, just waiting
it was
to be punished,
so
it's
deep.
just not going to work. It's not going to work. So an epiphany is needed, in my opinion, for Stevie Clarke.
What the another thing about last night for me as well is I don't think they had that much pace at the top end of the pitch.
And when Fraser came on, he makes a difference.
No, but
and he was playing him in the 10.
But I mean, we were sitting so deep, and I don't think they had much pace to get in behind us. I don't think.
No.
You know, the amount of times the ball was going behind McTominay's quick, Tierney's quick, even Hanley
was quick. Yeah.
You know, it's not like they're going to rip us to shreds if we play a slightly higher line. And I'm not for 1 minute here sitting suggesting that we would have dominated the ball against Croatia. I'm not for a minute suggesting, because frankly,
they're the best midfield by far.
No matter what midfield three we put out the last night, they're just not going to be good enough to dominate the ball. They're just not, right? That's a fact, right? Let's take it back to Serbia, right? And listen, Steve Clarke has done a wonderful job to get Scotland to this major tournament. And when he came in, we were at the absolute fucking pits. You know, we had guys who nobody wanted to play for Scotland with no strikers. You know, he's gone and got Dykes and Adams who've done well for us, and Adams who will, I'm sure, going to do well for us, and Dykes will go on to do well for us. I have no doubt about that. And he's done a fantastic job to get us there, right? But let's take it back to Serbia, which was that fantastic night and all the rest of it. Scotland started brilliantly that night, brilliant performance. Second half fell off a cliff. Game management, substitutions were fucking horrendous. Almost killed us with substitutions.
Patterson, wasn't it? He brought
on McBurney and Patterson for McGinn and Dykes, if I'm not mistaken.
Two best players.
Who were our two best players on the night. Just
especially Dykes.
Dreadful. We then stumbled at the penalties, we got through fine. Since then, in competitive games, Scotland have one win, and it was against Faroe Islands. We were beat 1-0 off Slovakia, we were pretty hopeless. We were beat 1-0 off Israel, pretty hopeless. We drew with Austria at home. If you want to qualify a group, that group especially, you need to beat Austria at home. We didn't. We then drew away to Israel. If you want to qualify that group, you've got to beat Israel. We didn't. We started horribly that night, and we had to get better in the second half. Beat the Faroes 4-0 fine, then the two friendlies, whatever. I'm not going to tell you the Luxembourg beating them 1-0 and they did 10. There's not even much point in talking about it. Netherlands we did fine, but I mean they hooked all the best players, but they're not even competitive games. Czech Republic, biggest game in God knows how long at home.
Team wrong.
Got beat. Team wrong. Substitutions probably wrong that day as well. Actually, no, that's probably.
I would actually agree with you there.
Well, he did bring on Adams at half time, and
he did right, but he could have brought Gilmour on at half time. Do you know what I mean? It would have proved to have been right.
But that's probably a different point, because we'll come to Gilmour in a minute. Because he's not even in Gilmour's not even really in his thinking at that point, which is the most bizarre thing.
That's crazy.
That's the most bizarre thing. So
that's even more worrying for me.
The England game, he gets it right. Fantastic, brilliant, great performance, set up, fantastic. Unlucky not to win the game. Fair enough, deserves the credit for that, and I gave him the credit for that. And then last night, I think he got it wrong again. So you look at it since Serbia, it's been pretty grim. You know, and I think the fact that we've been going to definitely the two games after Serbia and that break, we didn't give a fuck because we were going to the Euros. But actually, there were two Nations League games that I think stopped us winning the.
That would have got us up a division, which would ultimately made it better
chances of qualifying for
the World Cup.
So we failed on that front, and then we've had a poor start to the World Cup qualifiers. We've got what, 5 points so far, which from that first break you need at least 7, I think.
Yeah. Unbeaten, but now it leaves us in a situation where we need to go to Austria and win, or we need to go to Denmark and win.
And we've seen how good Denmark can be. So then it's going to be a really tough few months coming out of this international break, because we're not in great form, and we've got a tough uphill battle. We've got Denmark away on the 1st September is our next game. You know, that's a big task. Now I still think we're more than capable of going there and winning it. I think we're capable of going there and winning the game. I really do. But again, it's going to be very, very tough. We then play Moldova at home. We should win. And then we go to Austria away. So we've got Austria and Denmark away in the next international break. You know, that's we are now in a position where we've got the higher of the Euros, but coming out of that, that's do or die time.
Yeah.
If you only take 3 points, you're not going to the World Cup.
And then the pressure starts to go into Steve Clarke at that point, I think, doesn't it?
Big time.
Because as you say, and all it. There's no way that they're going to go and sack Steve Clarke at the moment.
No, I'm not. I don't even think.
I'll get rid of him, right?
I don't think I can sit here and justify say that they should either.
But now, we need to kick on for this. Like, it can't be another 23 years. We need to kick on. We've got a good crop of players. We've got a good balance in that squad.
Such a great age as well. The oldest player who's actually any good is 27 years old, Andy Robertson.
That's crazy.
The ones that are older than that, I mean, the goalies, fine. But there's not really anybody older than that I'm really worried about losing. Robertson's still got
plenty of time.
5, 6, 7 years left for Scotland. You know, Tierney at 20, what's he, 24?
Something like that.
Adams 24, Nisbet 24, McTominay 24.
Billy Gilmour 20, Nathan Patterson 19.
Turnbull 21.
21, come on.
You know, there's so much in that squad in terms of, you know, guys at the right age that are going to have.
Yeah. John McGinn, I think he's like 26.
26, yeah.
Aye, so
he's got multiple tournaments ahead of him. So there's so much to be positive about. But what's coming through is not. I look at the players coming through and I think, right, they're not suited to be a team that sits in deep and doesn't have the ball and soaks up pressure. They're a team that gets in the ball. We've got talented flair players.
I mean, the
in
three
there.
you would say there is David Turnbull, Billy Gilmour, and Nathan Patterson, and as you say, they're no. I know he's a defender, but he's a forward thinking kind of guy.
Even Callum McGregor's got years ahead of him, and he'll still be a big player for Scotland. I think he might be
29 or something.
Yeah, but he's still got a tournament or two ahead of him, right?
We would like to think so.
But we've seen
get two qualifying chances.
The best we've seen from Callum McGregor was on
England
Friday night
last
against
night.
England. But that's when he had a midfielder beside him, and the two of them were comfortable keeping the ball, making those triangles, keeping the ball, and they looked absolutely fantastic. And see if they have. I look at them sometimes. I think they don't believe how good they could be. They don't believe they could they dominated the ball for the last parts against England. The amount of times we take the ball against England and we go, right, let's just kill a minute or two of the game here. We'll just keep the ball, keep it moving, wait for an opportunity. We did that so well.
Yeah.
But then, when we get it last night, it's like frantic long ball, let's see if we can play off it. Sometimes that works, and there's times when you do that. But there's just so much more to this squad than looking long for Lyndon Dykes every time the goalie's got the ball.
I know.
Hardly any time. The only time I saw Marshall give the ball short was to Callum McGregor when he would drop it and try and take it. He did that well.
A few times that he did that.
But every other time it was just long for Dykes. It's just so frustrating.
And see, at international level, you're not always going to win the duels. You're coming up against some of the best.
No.
And he did come up short on a number of occasions, but I don't blame him for that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can't just rely on Dykes.
He's taken a lot of stick, and I don't think it's warranted at all. Because I just think that it's not Lyndon Dykes' fault that's the way we're set up.
It's not Lyndon Dykes'. Well, it is Lyndon Dykes' fault that he chose him for the first game. But it should have been Che, man. It should have been Che for that, man. And Dykes for the setting.
And listen,
you know what I mean?
Dykes has taken so much stick, and he's done so well for us. And he has been vital to the fact that even in our change of fortunes, we didn't have a striker, and he's done brilliantly. People are forgetting how unbelievable he was against Serbia that night. He was just fantastic. In the Nation League games before that, when he first came in, he was brilliant. And I think he will be a good player for Scotland again in the future. There is a role for him in that squad, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Nisbet as well is another one who's comfortable with the ball at the feet, link up and stuff. He's very, very good at that. So there's just so much more to this team than being a hit and hope long ball team for me, and it's just frustrating. Billy Gilmour.
Oh wow!
Let's do a wee section on Billy Gilmour. I feel vindicated a little bit because I've been on the hype.
I mean, we did make a video before it saying he should start.
Said it was world class. Stand by it. It's a bit like the Kevin Nisbet thing for me. I know a player when I see him. Listen, he didn't.
Well, he also says Stuart Armstrong could start last night. So anyway, go right. Billy Gilmour. This is about Billy Gilmour.
David Turnbull would have been better.
Set pieces, mate. Wee bit more versatile.
Would you even taken them though?
Aye. Take them.
I think Armstrong's set pieces were decent though.
Hopeless floated it to like the 18-yarder one time.
Anyway, right, okay, Billy Gilmour. So unbelievable against England, fantastic. Didn't start last night, massive blow. Build the team around him for the next 15 years.
Oh, aye, absolutely. He's got everything that you want in a midfield player.
He could be the heart of that midfield for as long as Luka Modric has been for Croatia.
Aye, absolutely. There's no reason not to.
And see, just to go back, this is something that I haven't thought about, and this tournament is bringing this point to home even more. People saying he doesn't play for Chelsea. He's not playing for Chelsea ahead of the best holding midfielder in the world, N'Golo Kante. Nobody touches him. He's the best in the world.
And it's also
a lot of people Jorginho,
who's having a tournament and
the star of that Italy team, who now everyone thinks is going to win the tournament.
And Kovacic last night.
And Kovacic, who was fantastic last night. So that is what he's up against at club level. And also, when he does get in beside those guys, he doesn't just
doesn't make an arse of it, mate.
He often stands
out. Man of the match, Premier League debut, FA Cup, Champions League, Euros. Man of the match.
He is phenomenal. So see this, people out here.
Is it because he's Scottish? It's he's not good enough and he isn't world class. Do you think that's?
It's because we don't know how to deal with young players who are that good. We don't know what to do with them. I mean, it took Tierney long enough to get in the national fold. He should have been in when he was fucking 18, but it took him too long to get in. And as I've said it so many times, if Billy Gilmour was well, he'd have 20 caps by now, and he would be flying. And if he's not playing for Chelsea, more a reason for him to play for Scotland, because we need to help his development. If anyone at the SFA or Steve Clarke has any sense, they build that team around him, because he is fucking phenomenal.
Aye.
He is so good, and there's so much more to come from him. If that's how good he is now, how good is he going to be at 24, 25?
He's going to be running it, mate.
He will be running the show.
He'll be running the next
We've moaned about how our world-class players are left-backs. We're going to have a guy in the middle of the park who's going to
For all it's brilliant having world-class left-backs, but there's just a difference when you've got a world-class centre midfielder.
The midfield.
Can just control, and that was a difference last night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was a difference.
And
so it was.
And it's just unbelievable. He is fantastic. We missed him last night. I'm not saying we would have won with him playing last night, because I don't think it's
we would have. It would have been it would actually been amazing to see him up against Modric.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because that just will show you your levels.
You're talking about
and Modric will still dominated the game, but It'd have been
You're
good to
talking
see
about a guy that no matter what level he's played at and no matter what game he's played at, and he always does well. Does nothing phase him, no fear. A guy whose ball retention and ball recovery is unbelievable. His stats with ball recoveries against England was just frightening.
Do you know what I didn't see as well? Seeing how when they're doing the national anthem, there was a camera angle that was looking right along the Scottish players. It's Tierney and Billy Gilmour look right down the line, and they're like that. Right, I can expect that for Tierney, do you know? Because he's been in the setup for a good few years. But Gilmour, right, he knew he belonged there. He knew he belonged there, and he just made everybody around him even better. So, as you said, build the team around him. See, even going back to the Chelsea thing, I think he made 5 Premier League starts last season. He had a big injury. People are forgetting that. He had a big injury. He was out for 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not going to be easy for him to get back at that
the injury
team.
came at a horrible time for him last season because when he was actually starting to get into the team quite regularly, he was playing a lot before that injury.
There was a shout for him to play against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Was it semi or quarter? A few years ago? So, a couple of years ago.
So, and he's only going to get better. And the thing is, though, what annoys me about this is it's like Steve Clarke stumbled into picking him. He didn't even feature against Czech Republic, and then all of a sudden he's starting and he's man of the match against England, and Clarke said it himself he would have started against Croatia. So the fact that was even a thing is just a bit bizarre. He stumbled into... I just got to hope now that Clarke now knows himself, right, I've got to pick this team around this boy. And there's a good chance he will know that now, because he'll have seen him in training, and there's no doubt in my mind he'll have been arguably the best player in training. And this is what I love about him the most is, and I've said it before, now that people have actually seen it in action for Scotland, they're going, holy fuck, he is actually good at this. The amount of times he'll have, and he did it so many times, he'll have the ball here and somebody's right behind him. Give me the fucking ball. Give me the fucking ball and I'll turn him and I'll go. He's just so fucking good. And you can't take the ball off him. He's so good at keeping the ball.
I noticed last night as well, for all that McGregor, he was going for it as much as he could. I don't think there was the same confidence in everybody else to just fire it into him.
Yeah.
And see, in that England game, no matter who was on Billy Gilmour, if the first person, even Callum McGregor beside him, the first people they were looking for was him. Do you know what I mean? And that just goes to show you the impact that he's made
and
already.
That breeds confidence in the rest of the team.
Absolutely.
There's no coincidence that it suited Callum McGregor, because Callum McGregor is that type of player. He wants the ball to feet, he can turn and drive, and he was brilliant over the 2 games. But he, beside Gilmour, looked much better as well, because they increased confidence. And also, it's not just the confidence of them to take it, it's then the confidence in the defenders to give them it. I thought in the first 20 minutes of the England game, he had a bit of a slow start. Gilmour took a while to get into it, but I think a large part of that was down to the fact that as the game went on, the defenders went, right, we can just give this to him whenever, he'll take it quite happily. And then, right, if we can give it to him, we can give it to McGregor as well. And it just sets everyone off playing. And we looked a million times better. We looked like such a good football team on Friday night.
Which is what we're crying out for.
Rather than
that's what his team needs.
Rather than a hard-to-beat, well-disciplined, well-drilled counter-attacking team, we looked like a really good football team. And that's what we've got the potential to do, and he'll be at the heart of that, and Clarke needs to realise that. And that's why I came out of Hampden last night annoyed, but also full of positivity, because there is so much quality in that squad to go on and do well. And
we just need the manager now to see that. And
and listen,
let the boys go.
I said last night, I think
business.
if we were to get the best out of this group of players coming through, we need to change the manager. I still probably stand by that. I'm not sitting here saying Clarke has to go, because I don't think that's really fair. He needs to hit the World Cup qualifiers. But if we fail the World Cup qualifiers, I don't want to hear that, he got us to a major tournament, because if you're it's the Celtic thing. When you're on top, you don't just settle. You need to go and go again. Otherwise, you will fall by the wayside.
You don't get comfortable in it.
Exactly.
You need
if we get comfortable in this, this is the group that got to
the Steve Clarke. The Steve Clarke style that he implemented, as you say earlier in the video, was needed.
It worked wonders.
But now it's time to progress and adapt. And if he can't do it, then he won't be the man for the job. But if he can do it, then he's got a good few years in front of him with this crop of players, because they can deliver results, in my opinion.
Yeah,
seriously.
My final point on that is I think he's earned the chance to do that.
He's earned the chance to go and date the World Cup qualifiers for sure.
And see where we are. If we go and listen, I'm not saying that if we don't make it to the World Cup he has to go, because I think if we go and finish qualifiers, get a couple of good results, start playing some really nice football, and the signs are all positive, then keep it going. If
that's
going
what we need to see, though, innit?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about this group of players. It's not like they need to qualify for the World Cup because it's like their last chance. They'll have multiple tournaments after that. I think somebody said last night about when people were asking for Gordon Strachan to leave, everyone thought it would be better, and it wasn't. But the thing is, when Gordon Strachan left, you had Darren Fletcher leaving, Scott Brown leaving, Alan McGregor wasn't long after that. Numerous players in that backline didn't play again.
McGrew, all these kind of guys.
That was the end of the road for these guys. Whereas now it's the start for all these guys. So lots to be positive about. Give him a chance, but we need. I mean, September is a massive month. We'll cover it in depth, but it is a massive month for him, and he needs to get it right.
Definitely.
I wasn't on Twitter, but we've covered everyone pretty much.
Have we? We covered most of the Twitter questions.
Should Clarke go was the gist of it.
Was it?
So yeah, it is what it is.
So yes.
We'll see. Come back to me after the September international break. Anything else we can talk about? One thing I'm excited about is next week we can talk about actual Scottish football rather than just the national team.
That's it. We're getting back into
the Euros are fucking irrelevant now. So loads happening in the transfers. I'm at a pre-season friendly tonight.
Nice.
I'm going as a supporter to watch pre-season friendly tonight.
I can't wait to get back to the football, man. Honestly,
so good, excited, can't wait.
I can't wait.
Brilliant. The real stuff's starting. That's the good thing about the Euros. It's giving us that nice bridge. There's not been a gap. So yeah, that's us.
Relentless football.
Yeah, can't wait.
Slovakia.
Oh, the Czechs are still going.
Oh, fuck you,
man. The Czechs are still going.
Oh.
Yes, the dark horses.
Jesus Christ.
I got Croatia on another one as well.
Did you?
I got Croatia on football team one.
Dirty bastard.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh well.
Looking right. Look at Modric. Let's go.
Right, like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
See you later.
See you later.